Well, hey there. I'm Sarah, and I am trying to restore a 2002 Royal Enfield Classic 500. I've named her Hari. I love her. And in today's video, we're going to go in depth on carburetors. Now, I don't have a lot of background on carbureted bikes in general. I'm a fuel-injected girly. So, Erin is gracious enough to answer all my questions about how carburetors work, how it gets the fuel from the big tank chucked right back into that cylinder. And as much as I learned in this, there's a lot more to it. So I look forward to showing you what I learned today in today's video, and we're gonna just go ahead and get into it.
Then your petcock. From your petcock, the fuel goes into the carburetor. Right? In order to get the tank off, you want to release this upwards. Pretty sure there's a tool that I just use a needle nose pliers to move it up. So this goes about that high.
Okay.
It's not the best way of doing things, but a flathead screwdriver usually moves it up. You want to be careful to not score that or bend this screw. This is your idle air screw.
Okay.
And this is your air screw.
Okay.
We may or may not need to adjust it depending on when we get this bike fired up. We'll figure all that out later.
As a quick aside, I did want to give a little bit more depth on how carburetors work. Like I mentioned in the intro, I don't have a lot of experience with carbs, and I didn't have a lot of good questions to ask Erin in the moment. After we finished work that day, I did some Googling on my own for how carbs work in general and wanted to share what I've learned. Some carbureted bikes use a dual carb setup, while others use a single carb setup. A single carb design on the 2002 Royal Enfield Bullet 500 is very similar to the type of carb called a Mikuni carb. Mikuni is a brand of carburetors that has become very popular, and you might even find them on your snowblower, generator, or other carbureted equipment. If you're looking for a really in-depth explanation on carbs in general, you should check out the Smarter Everyday channel. Today I'm not planning to go as in-depth as them and explain Bernoulli's principle or anything, but I did think that some diagrams to show how a basic carburetor is designed versus how a Mikuni carburetor is designed could maybe help remove some confusion. This diagram shows a simplified carburetor. The red lines represent fuel, while the green represents air. Fuel and air are both pulled through the carb using negative pressure from the engine's piston moving up and down in the cylinder as the engine is running. The entire purpose of the carb is to create the perfect combination of air and fuel that is ready to be ignited in the engine cylinder. Using controls from your choke, throttle, and air screws, you can adjust exactly how much fuel is mixed during different scenarios. The three big scenarios we're going to focus on are initial fire up, idling, and riding or driving. In another video, we'll actually try to tune those scenarios on Hari, but that's still going to need to wait a little bit. So what's so special about a Mikuni carb? This diagram looks a little bit different from before, right? In this diagram, it's a little bit easier to see how the fuel and air mixes in that device. The throttle cable pulls the throttle slide up, which allows more air and fuel to mix. The air screws adjust how much air is allowed independently of the throttle. The choke, the air screws, and the throttle are our big control levers to how a carb is running, and we're going to need to understand those as we move on to actually tuning Hari in a future video. Now I think would be a good time to get back to Erin to explain how a petcock delivers fuel to a carburetor. So just for my understanding, we moved the little tube that's in here off of the carburetor.
Yes.
So the fuel supply to the carburetor is no longer connected. Yes. Because this tube now comes directly out of here, which is the tank. And if you don't know motorcycles, this is where we store fuel. Okay.
So now...
And that's what this is for. Whereas like on my current bike, I got a little fuel gauge that tells me you're getting low. Whereas on this one, there's no gauge, it just stops running. So I have to push this into reserve once it's low. Right.
In your new bike, there'll be a fuel pump underneath because it's fuel injected.
Yes.
This is carbureted. Most of them, not all, but most of them are gravity fed.
Okay.
So this is just gravity feeding it, and then there's vacuum that's created by the engine, which pulls fuel in.
Yeah. So we have the tube pulled out.
Yes.
Are we able to pull that tube this way?
Yeah.
Okay. That doesn't just pour gas?
No.
Because it's off right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Okay, so this will be a little easier, right? We'll be able to get this into the funnel.
Yes.
All right.
So now when we turn this to reserve or on, is most of all petcocks, down is on, up is reserve.
Okay.
So there's two tubes that go underneath it. One is shorter, one is longer. The longer is on, so once it goes past the inlet tube, you have to switch it to reserve to go to the shorter tube, and that's what gets you
Okay.
reserve gas.
Okay. So like somewhere in this tank, there's a smaller tank?
No.
Okay.
It's
Where is
just-
the reserve?
So
Because it's like a gallon or something like
Right.
that. A third of a gallon.
So think about, this is the tank, and there's fuel all the way up here.
yes.
You have, the Petcock typically has two inlet lines. One is taller, one is shorter. So as the gas flow gets lower,
Oh, that's
It's-
so clever.
it's simple.
Yeah.
There's no complication,
Okay.
nothing. And like typically the shorter valve.
I
has
thought
a-
there was like a reserve tank somewhere on this thing. And I'm
Some-
like, what?
Yeah, some motorcycles have two tanks.
Oh. So both of those tubes inside here connect to the same spot?
Correct.
Huh. Okay. So, that's all there is to it. If you were like me and you thought this was interesting, you learned a little something. For example, there is not a mama tank and a baby tank going on here. Then go ahead and leave a comment below and let me know that I'm not the only one who learned something today. And if you want to know way more about carburetors, I'll link some other videos in the description below. I think Smarter Every Day did one that was very good as well. So yeah, if this has sparked your interest and you want to know about, 1980s technology or older, I don't even know how old carburetors are, but anyway, then go ahead and check out those videos and let me know that you're interested in it. And with that, I think we're gonna call it for this video. I hope to see you in the next one. And if you like this video and you really like where we're going with Hari here, then please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and we can't wait to see you in the next video. So, until then, bye-bye.